Happy Sunday to you. Man, it's been a busy week. This past week, we actually had multiple properties hit the market. We shot multiple houses for other agents, did a lot of content making this week. And yesterday, on Saturday, we actually left around 6:15 yesterday morning to head into Chattanooga for an 8 o'clock showing to get things off and rolling for one of our clients. Thankfully, we worked on that late last night. Finally got it locked up around, I think it was 11 o'clock last night. Everything got officially approved. So started off the morning with a brand new contract and back out at it today, showing more property. So yeah, it's one of the things I wanted to jump on and just talk about is, what goes on behind the scenes in real estate. A lot of the times whenever I'm talking to new agents that are coming into the industry, I think it looks pretty easy on the front end as far as what we do, and sometimes we can make good money. Sometimes we don't hardly make anything. Sorry, my tripod's a little wobbly. But for the most part, I think a lot of buyers and sellers look at it from a perspective where it doesn't really seem like there's a lot that goes on. Well, as I'm talking to agents, I actually had it mentioned to me this week, like, oh yeah, I can dress up and get in front of a camera or hold a camera for you and shoot some videos. But guys, there's a lot more to that. And there's a whole lot more that goes on behind the scenes. And, when a house goes under contract, I used to know, but if you think about like a bicycle tire, and you think of all the spokes that go out, essentially you and the client are the one in the center, and all those spokes are different people that are touching that file along the way. You've got title companies, you've got lenders, you've got underwriters, you've got processors, the list goes on. And from the real estate agent perspective, it's about having those connections. And, I made the post earlier this morning about being able to write the offer and everything's already lined up and everything. Well, guys, before I ever left to go show property on Saturday, or it was late Friday rather, I reached out to my home inspector and tentatively went ahead and penciled in a day and time that we could make this happen. Well, the reason I did this is I knew that making an offer, it was going to be, or time was going to be of the essence. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that whenever I wrote that offer, that it looked as good on paper as possible. And that way, whenever I submitted that offer, I went ahead and told them that, hey, look, I've already got a home inspection lined up for this day and time. And a lot of agents don't do that. So, first off, shout out to my home inspector, Lee Zixies, with Hercules Home Inspections, because Lee has done an absolute incredible job for us over the years. And I'm very, very appreciative of everything that he has done to help us and to keep our files and contracts moving forward. Because guys, without people like Lee, he could postpone our closings. He could hold us back if he doesn't have time. There's a lot of things that can interfere there. And the other thing that we do before we ever step foot into a house is we actually talk to our buyers. And I'm not going to call it a full buyer consultation because things have become a little informal over the years. So I don't really personally do that. My whole objective is to speak with the client and just figure out what they want and things that they need and kind of get an idea of where they want to take it. But, from there, we do have a process. But, we make sure that they are completely underwritten before we ever step foot. And what that means is there is a difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. And, you can log on to Quicken Loans right now and put in all of your information, and they're going to give you a number. And they're going to say you're pre-qualified for X amount. Well, a true underwritten approval, it means that you've already submitted those documents. It means that you've already provided them proof. You didn't just tell them how much money you make, but you've provided your W-2s, your tax returns, depending on what situation you're in. And from there, they will take that, the underwriters look over everything, and you're conditionally approved. And really the only thing that stands in between you and the purchase of your new home at that point would be the house, making sure that the house checks out. And so shout out to Matt Wilson and Wilson Mortgage team with New American Funding, because they've done an incredible job for us over the years, helping us to avoid contracts falling apart and to make sure that we are prepared. And I just want to make sure that we are sharing this information with the everyday consumer because, years ago, people would go out and we would be able to shop, we'd be able to look at houses. And once you found the house that you wanted, we were able to write that offer and then go get that approval and start that lending process. Well, we also heard about a lot of deals making it essentially to the closing table and then all of a sudden the deal falling apart. I mean, these are horror stories that I've experienced them, for one. But also, I mean, these are horror stories that you've heard your friends and family talk about over the years. And, a lot of people, shopping for a home is a little bit different than shopping for a pair of shoes. And one of the issues that I see, if you are shopping for a pair of shoes, you walk into a local store or go online, click a few buttons, and the shoes are shipped to you, or you can leave at the store with them in hand. Well, real estate takes a little bit more time because, at the end of the day, it's one of the greatest assets you're ever going to have. And there is some thought that goes in behind the scenes there to make sure that it's the right move and the right time for you. And so that's where that whole process comes into play. And I, over the next few weeks, guys, I'm going to be doing my best to shed some light over some of these things and just to educate you. And honestly, just kind of tell you about what we're dealing with, things that we're experiencing. And a few months ago, I wrote an offer on a house on a Friday evening. Finally, around, I think it's 4:30, 5 o'clock on a Friday, I finally got a verbal acceptance. But again, before I wrote that offer, I had the home inspection scheduled for Monday, and my lender was on hand as well. And we actually had the appraisal ordered. They went out on Tuesday. We had everything back by Wednesday. So literally within, 3 business days, we had everything already completed on the front end. And by day 7, we had the clear to close. And so, not that we were trying to rush it. Well, in that particular deal, yes, we were trying to push a little bit harder. But it is possible whenever the buyer or seller that we're speaking with, will open up to us. And, we see so many people. And right now, I believe I bring in around 150 people every week. That's just, just looking, if you will. And guys, we know you're out there just looking, and our job is not to sell you every house that you see. Honestly, I don't care if you buy a house with me. Ultimately what we are looking at is if there is a need that you are looking for or searching for, we hope that you reach out to us where we can better assist with that on the backside. And, obviously I know more about my system than, most consumers do that are logging into it. So that's what we're there for. We're there to help guide through that process. So again, as you are going through that buying process, we know you're just looking. And generally speaking, I'm very bad about researching items well before I ever go in to make the purchase. But when I go in to make that purchase, I know exactly what I want. And one of the things I've learned from the real estate angle over the years is if you are halfway thinking about buying or selling or doing something within the next 3 to 6 months, guys, you couldn't have reached out at a better time at that point. Because at that moment, it allows you and the agent or the advisor, whomever you're working with, it allows you guys to start that process, have those conversations. Now it's not just you in the corner, working alone. Now you've got, the real estate advisor in hand, the listing agent, whatever it is. And collectively, you guys are working together at that point. And so as we are going through this process, the more communication one can have, the better. And again, we typically see that buyers will start looking, around 3 to 6 months out. And, we all love looking at pictures. That's certainly why we do as many home tours as we can. We want to bring that stuff to you guys so you can see exactly what's out there and know what the market looks like. But when you truly dive in and you get to that serious spot, that's where we come in. And guys, yes, there are sleazy salesmen out there all over the place. And I know that whenever you pull onto a car lot, you're expecting 10 people to run out and they don't want you to leave until you go home with a car. Guys, real estate's not that way. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there that just want to have those types of conversations. But ultimately, the main thing that we are looking for is to make sure that you have the best information to make the best educated decision as possible. So, guys, as we are going throughout the next few days and weeks, we're going to be trying to jump on, share more information. But again, I'm about to pull in at my appointment as we speak. So I'm going to jump out, show some property. If you have any questions, need anything, reach out to us, guys. We'll see you on the next one.